morning, right? Obviously, still lots of pride to play for as we continue to go forward here, right? Continue to grow and continue to get better as we move forward with it. Again, guys showed up to no surprise with a good attitude, good mindset. Attacked the film and what we put down on tape. This past weekend the right way. Felt like they were, again, open, receptive to learning, and we'll continue the process of getting better, day in and day out as we go forward.
Is there anything in particular you do these last two games that maybe give reserves a chance to get some playing experience going into next season, or how do you look at these last two games?
We'll evaluate the way that we do each and every single week, right, and which position players give us the best opportunity to win as we go forward with it. Obviously, the opportunities are limited here as we go forward, right, but I think it's still the right thing to do to be able to pour into this current season, right, and to be, at best now 5-7, right, and who are the best guys that give us the best chance to do that and not start looking ahead, to the future. It's never been about that. We're going to be in the present, and we're going to grow each and every single day the right way.
Sean, where has Danny Onio grown the most as a quarterback, considering what he's experiencing at this level for the first time?
Yeah, I mean, again, just the amount of work that's required week in and week out. I think his process has been refined week in and week out. Obviously, knowing and understanding the speed of the game and the marathon that truly is the season, right? I mean, we're going into each season that is a 12-round fight, and you're creating the opportunities that you need to get a 13th and a 14th and a 15th bout each and every single year. So I think just the overall experience, and then, again, like the importance of timing and location and placement and accuracy within the throw game in all levels, right? Whether it's, the quick game, the intermediate game, or pushing the ball vertically down the field, and then getting a good feel in the RPO world as well in terms of, what's a hand, what's a give, and being consistent with those reads and those progressions as he's grown throughout the course of the season.
What, in terms of somebody this young doing it for the first time, has he exceeded what you thought this learning curve would be?
Again, I think he's been doing a good job, from the first day that he got on campus, right? He's the first true freshman that I've had, so there's really no benchmark or standard, that I have to compare that against. So I think his own individual journey, he's done a good job with it. And again, I think he'd be the first to tell you that, he wish he, could have done a better job through it all, right? And, this past week, hey, taking care of the football, better early on in the game off of all of it. So, again, like it's not him versus anyone else. It's just his continual journey and him getting better each and every single opportunity that he gets as he continues to go forward.
When it comes to O'Neal's development, how important has it been to have a guy like Marquez Cooper, although he's a running back, but he's a senior and he seems like a great leader with that locker room. What can he kind of teach O'Neal that O'Neal, as young as he can be, can then take into his next three?
Yeah, I think all the older guys, right? I mean, that are in the locker room, Coop being the one that we've talked a ton about, right? Like that have the playing experience, again, and the depth of knowledge about the journey that each individual season is and the consistency of success that Coop has had throughout his whole career. There's obviously a ton that goes into that besides just what happens on game day. So being able to lean into that knowledge and, again, the knowledge of all the older guys that are in the building, to be able to take care of yourself, take care of your body, to have the mental fortitude, the resiliency to go through the year and to keep showing up the way that our team has. I think that's been imperative for the young guys to look at the older guys, to learn what this is, right? And the attention to detail that you need to have and the urgency that you need to have each and every single moment, yet knowing and understanding the whole marathon that is the season and the competitive stamina that's required, right, to do that at a high level.
Until this past Saturday's loss, the possibility of being bowl eligible is still on the table. Now that it's not, are there more challenges to try and keep these guys up to finish strong in the last 2 weeks?
I don't think so. I think, again, like there's the external motivation that's always going to be there for various factors in all areas of their life, right? But, again, if you commit to something, you decide to something, early in the year, and you say that you're going to be something, and it's a testament to, our process and being the best that we can be day in and day out and improving and competing day in and day out, right? Like that's who you're going to be. You're committed to doing that. And so regardless of, the external factors that are out there, right? Like we said that we were going to be that early in the year, right? When things were fine, right? There was no good or bad to it. Well, if we said that, then let's be committed to that as we continue to go forward. And again, the way that they showed up, yesterday and the way that they're holding their heads high, I believe that we're going to continue to fight and we're going to do that at a high level. And again, we're going to put our best foot forward.
Part of being a competitor, once you get into the game, it doesn't matter what else is out there. It's just you're in a game, you want to beat those guys.
I think part of being an elite competitor is that regardless of what's going on in the outside world, you can control what you can control. And again, like it's not just on game day. It's throughout the whole course of the week. It's throughout your whole daily process. It's the off season, right? So that, hey, when there happens to be people in the stands, or there happens to be the cameras on, when you happen to be on TV, everyone else is just to happen to see the work that you've done, right? And that's not just a game day thing. That's a lifestyle thing. That's a year-round thing. And I think that's a life thing for them to be, as they grow and as they mature, as they move forward, as young men, right? Like it's, again, like decide who you're going to be and be that each and every single day.
A question about the offense you're running and the collection of wide receivers. When you're teaching them your system and all the intricacies to do what they have to do, can you sense all of a sudden in one of those kids when all of a sudden a light bulb goes on and he really gets it? I mean, do you gauge that?
Yeah, there's been quite a few moments throughout the course of the year, with the wideouts and with all the position groups, right, to where we teach them the concepts, we give them tools, we give them rules, but each individual plays its own problem to solve, right? And so we can call the same concept, numerous times, but based off of what the offense or defense is presenting, right, it's a different problem that you need to solve. And when you see guys start to process the information, the speed of communication pre-snap is really, really good. Their decision-making within the play is happening quicker. Yeah, then those light bulb moments happen, and they happen more frequently, and then you're going to have more consistency of success. With it also, it's great to see those moments, and, those are the moments you live for as a coach, right? To see more of those aha moments that, hey, I get it, and I've been able to apply these rules, the tools, the concepts, right, in a multitude of ways so that they can have success consistently.
Sean, what do you think of Utah State coming off of this dominant win? They had 5 interceptions, they had 6-7 sacks that game. What did you see from them this past week?
Yeah, did a great job, competing and fighting and being opportunistic, generating the turnovers, right? Anytime that you score 55 points, you're doing some things right. We've seen a ton of them throughout the course of the season on crossover tape, and, their quarterback, Spencer Petras, has unbelievable arm talent, does a really good job spreading the football around. They got dynamic playmakers in all 3 phases. So, they've won 2 out of their last 3. They're a very, very dangerous opponent and a worthy competition and competitor, and looking forward to going up there and competing.
What do you see from their defense?
Say that again.
What do you see from their defense that you have response on?
Yeah, multiple structures to it, right? They do a good job taking away space and free access. Their edges do a good job of, getting after the quarterback. And again, they've been very opportunistic, especially last week, right? Anytime you can generate 5 turnovers, you're doing some things really, really well.
There's something that was clicking about their offense in the recent games that you noticed was absent in the previous game?
I think there's the balance to it, right? They've done a nice job, both run and pass. And again, they do a really nice job using their max splits, spreading the field, forcing you to cover all the grass, and getting their speed and their playmakers in space.
What have you seen from the running back phase? He's 9 yards away from 1,000 yards this season. He's been able to perform up until this point.
Yeah, again, just consistency week in and week out, right? Anytime that you can eclipse that 1,000-yard mark, you're doing things the right way. And he's got good natural vision. He's got good balance, uses his offhand really, really well, and creates good yards after contact.
Your offensive line has had a lot of challenges, especially with injuries. And I watch you guys limping on and off, but still in there. What's that say about their toughness?
Yeah, again, it's a microcosm of the whole team and the character and the fight, right? Like it's a less than ideal situation. A lot's been made about it. We're not going to make excuses for it. It is what it is, right? Just factually speaking. And each and every single week, those kids battle throughout the week in practice. Some guys are able to go, some guys aren't. But when it comes time to compete and to be there for their team, so that we can have the depth that we need to go be competitive, guys step up, do what's needed, and they compete for 4 quarters. And that's all that you can ask for as a coach.
What does it say about your team kind of getting some of those red zone stops? Early you get a big stop, late you get the fumble. So earlier in the year you weren't necessarily getting some of those red zone stops. Feel like you're taking a step forward there?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I think it's just the competitive nature and the fight of the team, right? That was the one thing that, again, we've preached from day one, is that we're going to have tremendous fight, we're going to have tremendous resolve, and again, like from the very start of the game, getting those goal line stands and digging our heels in and getting those stops was crucial. And then again, to the very end, to everyone be tied together. Again, like the speed of communication as soon as they went under center, right? To to know, hey, the quarterback sneak was coming, everyone to be tied together, do their job, for EB to go over the top, punch at the ball, and again, like in that moment to be dialed into the details, to play collectively together, ball comes out, to flip the field and to get us an opportunity to, have an opportunity to score there late is crucial, right? And so it was great to see, again, from the very beginning to the very end, in that game, our team to fight. And again, I expect no difference from the very beginning of the season to the very end of the season. We're going to continue to fight.
What are you learning about your team's resiliency and the ability to come back from disappointing circumstances that you may not learn from success?
Yeah, I don't think you can ever want to have, great hard character, right, or high character for that matter, and an easy life, right? Like if you have an easy life, you're never going to be tested, right? And if you're never tested, how the heck are you ever going to know what you're truly capable of, right? And so again, like we faced a tremendous amount of adversity, the way that every single team has, right? The way that everyone has in their life, this year, right? And we face it in a lot of different ways. But again, like our guys have unbelievable character, unbelievable fight, and through all the tests and through all the trials, they continue to show up, right? And so again, like because of that, again, like there's great young men in that locker room that make up our football program. They're led by great, men and women, in the leadership roles that are in this building. And because of that, I know that we're going to have tremendous success as we continue to move forward.
How pleased have you been, Sean, just with the special teams play? We spent a lot of time last week talking about
Sure.
ULV special teams. You look up San Diego State efficiently as like a top 5-6 special teams unit in the country. Are you pleased with the progress you've had throughout the year there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think some of our most consistent playmakers and most skilled playmakers are our specialists, right? And so, again, like I'm not very smart, but when you have really, really good players, it makes you look really, really good in those areas of the game, right? And so Gabe has settled in once we've, identified him and his consistency to win him the job as we transition to conference play. He goes out there, he gets points, right? And obviously Tyler's done an unbelievable job flipping the field. We asked him, with obviously the pressure that we knew that we were going to get to speed up his operation, and it was amazing. I mean, shoot, the one ball he punts 58 yards the other night, his op time was like 1.63, which is like good punt mechanics, good punt op time is anything under 2 seconds. So for him to get that off in 1.6 is remarkable, and to be able to flip the field, right? And then again, it all happens because of what Ryan's able to do, and we never talk about Ryan because Ryan does his job consistently well at a really, really high level, and because of that, all the options able to go. And again, there's a bunch of guys that we don't talk about, that are the glue guys that connect the offense and the defense, like a Josh Hunter, right? Like a Jatavius McGee, and these guys who are doing all types of dirty work, right? Like a DJ Herman, right? That hey, like there's not a whole lot of glory in being the right shield on punt, but he's the quarterback that drives that punt team, that's getting us in the proper looks so that, we go into it and know obviously they're a very, very dangerous unit last week in their punt block. They've blocked numerous punts, and, we're able to get all our punts off clean. And conversely, our kids embrace the challenge, said, hey, like we're going to go get one, right? And so Chris steps up and he goes and blocks a punt that changes the game, that leads to points, right? So the guys really buying into obviously that phase of the game, and doing that at a high level is really, really important for our overall success.
Where do you think the offense has progressed the most this season?
I think the biggest thing, right, is our run efficiency as we've gone along. We've done a much better job, with our consistency within the run game, so that we're not in so many D&D situations where we're behind the chains where we were earlier in the year.
You guys haven't produced more than 27 points since the opening week. What do you think has been the biggest challenge to being more productive on the scoreboard?
Yeah, I think, again, just the generation of explosive plays, right? Again, getting our guys in the right spots so that we can create those explosive plays. Because, again, anytime that you got to go the long way and you're getting 4 yards here, 5 yards there, 4 yards here, 5 yards there, right? Like there's just those long sustained drives for anyone, become challenging. Versus if you can get some chunk plays, right, and move the ball down the field and generate some tempo because of that, you're able to get the competitive advantage in your favor, and have a greater ability to score touchdowns and not just field goals.
Why do you think those explosives haven't?
Again, probably better play calls by me will put us in the right position to be successful.
Sean, I got a big picture question. What was your perspective of Mountain West style of play before you took this job? And has it changed? What surprised you about playing in the conference? And I'm not just talking Boise, but the wide variety of quarterbacks and the offenses, et cetera, anything different than you thought might be?
No, I mean, I'd had the opportunity at previous stops to compete against numerous Mountain West teams, so knew the caliber of players, knew the caliber of coaching, and then obviously with all the coaching changes that had happened, you knew there was an influx of talent with the coaching ranks that was going to come into the league as well. And again, the playmakers that are in this league, the different styles of offense and defense, it's a unique set of challenges, right, as you go forward week in and week out, right? So it was one of the things that made me super excited very, very early on, about the opportunity to come compete in this league, because you want to compete against some of the elite competitors in the country, and I think this is a great opportunity, a great league to do that in. Still feel that way.
What do you remember about Kent State's bowl game win over Utah State?
I mean, it's the one and only bowl game ever, win in the history of Kent State, right? It was a tremendous opportunity for those kids that they earned, and it was it was a Friday night game. I just remember the bowl rep saying, hey, if you guys could give us a Friday night light shootout, that'd really be great. And obviously Jordan Love was on the other sideline, and we had a good quarterback in Dustin Crum as well, and delivered on that. And there was a whole bunch of offense. It was a track meet up and down the field, and it was a great night. It was a great win, and I remember getting slimed with like a avocado something smoothie that night as well, which doesn't come out of a beard real easily.
Does it make you ache to see what's happened this year for that new coach?
In terms of,
Okay. How hard it's been?
I mean, it's a very challenging job. It's a very challenging job.
How did you flip it?
Same way we're going to do the thing around here. Do it the right way. Pour into people, right? This is a people business, right? So you pour into people the right way. You get the right people in the right chairs, which we do, and we have here, right? And you get everyone, rolling in the same direction, day in and day out with it all. And you stay consistent. You know that your process works. You believe in it. You believe in your people. You pour into your people, and everything will be right.
How much more of a challenge does it make it now compared to then because of NIL and portal and such?
Yeah, it's another layer, right? You got to adapt, you got to evolve, right? And again, we've talked about this at length, right? In any industry, there's going to be change, there's going to be different legislation, there's going to be different things that happen. So yeah, there's an increased hurdle with that, to where when we were at, Kent, not that far along ago, but it seems like an eternity ago, right? Like you knew that you're going to have your pieces in place because they were going to stay, they were going to be retained, they were going to be developed over the course of time. Whereas now, again, like our staff has done an unbelievable job of, developing the talent that we inherited, right? Identifying good talent to influx into the roster, and guys have grown and guys have developed. And now again, because of the vision that we have, the experience that they're getting, the course and the direction that we have set, that hopefully the relationships that we have and the support that we have from, the people in the building here and the people in our community and Aztec Link and everything that we need, that every single college team is going through, right? This isn't unique to San Diego State. It's something that is going on right now across all sports, particularly men's and women's basketball and football, right? To where the NLI piece of it is huge, to be able to keep your roster intact and to use that as the vehicle that you need to retain your players and to consistently have a championship roster year in and year out.
Did you ever have imagined it getting to this point when you started in coaching?
No, probably not, right? I mean, it's like in the landscape of college athletics, it seems like from, the early 1970s until 2020, nothing changed. And now by the time we leave this, meeting here, this press conference, probably something has changed from the time that this has started, 12 minutes ago, right? 15 minutes ago to by the time we leave. And everything's happening at an exponential rate with how fast it's changing. So I don't think anyone who says like, hey, I foresaw this coming is telling the truth. And I don't think anyone who says, hey, we got this figured out is telling the truth right now. We're all adjusting, we're all learning, and we're all trying to make sure that, our rate of growth and learning is faster than the rate of change that's playing out right now, which is a fun challenge and it's a fun opportunity each and every single day.
Have you ever been able to pinpoint the reason for the slow starts offensively in the first
Man, if I would have pinpointed that, we would have stopped it a long time ago.
general thoughts about?
Yeah, again, like it comes to the positions that I'm putting the kids in, making sure that, they're in spots and with schemes that they feel most comfortable with so that they can settle in, and making sure that, as best we can, making sure that the guys who are going to go out there and take that first drive together are up and available to practice together, because you get good by doing this collectively together, right? And again, like it's just stating facts, and it's, again, something that everyone is going through. It's not unique to us, but we've just been bit hard by the injury bug this year, particularly offensively. And so having a group that is tied together, particularly in the offensive line, seeing the looks that they're going to see against multiple front teams that they're all going to be, so that we can be tied and wired together the right way so we can start fast in that regard is crucial to success.
How About the coaches and ADs that you kind of interact with, do you think there's going to be a different set of rules and controls of NIL and transfer portal to bring some stability back to programs, especially in the group of fives?
I think it'd be good. I think it would behoove all of us, right? Again, not limit anything that the student athletes can do because the pie is big enough for them to get a piece, right? And if anyone deserves a big chunk of the pie, it's absolutely them, right? But to have a little bit more stability because, again, we're living in a world right now where, there's tampering going on right now behind the scenes, right? To where, and then again, we're going to get to here after the championship weekend, right? Like the signing day is going to occur. There's still going to be bowl games going on. We're still going to be in the season, but then free agency is going to open, right? And now with the way that the rules are and everything, we're going to have to, make sure that, hey, we're trying to finish up the year the right way and still retain our roster, yet still recruit the high school kids. And again, like it's what we get compensated for. It's what we get paid to do, right? But it's a system that, again, a lot of smart people are working on refining so that we can make it right so that the experience year in and year out for student athletes is right as we continue to move forward with it.
If you were king, what would you like to see a structure look like?
How much time we got left here? Yeah, a small, close group of friends. I would like for there to be a way to where when you work really hard to identify the right players and your staff has done the due diligence to do that and you pour into them, right, that you can have a structure in place to where you can retain those guys without stressing your whole community out, right, your whole community of supporters out. And that also, if there is a better opportunity, right, in some form or fashion, right, like there's a finder's fee, if you will, for finding that player, for having developed them, that they're going to go and they're going to play elsewhere, that at least in the back end, right, because resources are so scarce for everyone, at least if that great player leaves, right, like then that the G5 level, so to speak, right, that we would be at least, compensated. Let's call it what it is right, at this point in time, right? Like it's compensated back so that you can then go replace that really good player that you just lost. Because right now we're living in a world to where illegal tampering is happening, a really good player gets taken from you, you pour time and effort, and energy and resources into that player, right? And then there's nothing left in return but, hey, go find the next one and coach, that is what it is, which I get. I accept that, right? But I don't think anyone feels comfortable with that being the case.
What about the portal?
In terms of?
If you were king, what would you like to see, how the portal operates, structures?
Yeah, I mean, I think one window would be great. I know there's a vote about that here, recently where, hey, 2 stayed open. But again, like there's models where this is happening where the calendar is laid out, right? Like I think there's some aspects of this where we don't need to reinvent the wheel. I know it's unique, again, because of where we're at. But again, like you look at any major sport, any professional sport, right? There's one free agency period. There's not 2. I think 1 would make sense.
Can anything be done to prevent tampering or?
Probably not. Probably not.
Did you ever think you'd see it get to this way?
No. But again, like, hey, like it's we're all dealing with it. We're all going to navigate it, and we're all going to go forward with it.
All trying to survive.
We're all trying to thrive. We're all trying to find the right way to thrive in the right way because everyone where everyone's at, it's a uniquely different beast. Like, again, like this area, right, everything that we're talking about is a uniquely different beast here than it is at any other school. And it's unique to every single school and every single institution, no matter where you are.
Is it frustrating if the group of 5 schools just become feeder programs?
Yeah, I think everyone's kind of feeling that stress, right? Like you can look at, especially in our sport, right, the number of combine invitees this past week or this past year, right, relative to years past, how many of them came from the quote-unquote P4s versus years past of how that talent distribution was, broken up and where that came from in past combine years, right? Like, okay, like that's the top tier talent. Like, I think one of the things that makes all of collegiate sports so great is the parity, right? Well, if there's this vehicle and this modality now where all the top talent is just going to one area, right, then that parity is going to go away, and again, like that's not what anyone wants. That's not what makes this enjoyable.
5 or 10 years down the road, the way this is evolving, do you think that hurts the sport ultimately?
Again, I think we're going to constantly evolve. I think we're going to constantly adapt. I'm not sure if it's going to be, necessarily a negative or a positive at the end of the day, right? Like we'll just all continue to adapt and we'll all continue to move with it.